Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
That's the microphone working, which is good. That's a good start. Okay, let me just get set up. So I think first off what we'll do tonight is just take a run on the Cathcart circle. Just working my way through some of these journey chapters so that I can get some of the trophies. I think we've got a trophy for complete one chapter, and then I think there's another one on the path to platinum that says complete 10 chapters. So I'm going through picking out the shortest chapters that I can find initially just to get that. So I've been working through this one on Cathcart Circle, so I will run the Glasgow to Glasgow round trip first, I think. And we have had a request tonight to run some LZB, so we'll do that one after this run. Sharky, how you doing? Get the big light on. Yeah, that's my joke, not yours. You're not allowed to come in here and say that. How are you doing? Are you alright? Put that in forward. Set the headlights. Put that on. Let's get the AWS on. And the DSD. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've done a few of these now. They've been okay so far, so I'll keep going. I still haven't got that new route yet. I want to get my hands on that Boston route, and I've not done that yet. That would be nice to show. Oh, here's one of my attempts at a repaint coming in. Like to keep it nice and simple. Just keep it all one colour for now. Again, I did that for the trophy, to be honest. There is a trophy for doing a repaint and then running a service with the one that you've repainted, so I did that. Actually, there's some decals missing off this. It isn't... Oh, there we go. I knew I'd put something on it. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. If I can get some eyes on, that would be great. So we're waiting until 15:17, then we can be away. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. Don't do it. Don't jump. It's not that bad, please. It's a bit of a drop. A phantom disappearing passengers. Okay, let's go on. So, Pollock Shields West, platform 2. So this is a round trip. Right around the circle and back. Let's see if I can get used to these new controls showing the views. So that's right stick in, D-pad right. Taking some getting used to be honest. But what is really nice on this is the two-tone horn we can now do. All without going back to the cab. That's been missing for quite some time now. I was getting that excited about that. I was speeding. You've got this route, Sharky, haven't you? I think. Yeah, did you notice though, Sharky, that AFB control? I don't know if you've used it yet, but the control scheme that it shows within the game is actually wrong. I think it says right 2 to increase the AFB, and I think it's actually right 1. I mean, it's easily fixed, but it took a little bit of investigation to get that working. But you're right. If you're going up the hill on Sandpatch, it's nice. The static cam, that is, yeah, because you get a good look round as you're going. The AFB is nice for freight trains, of course. So I've restarted all progress and I'm back at rank 14, I think, at the moment. So it's going to take me a while to get back to where I was, but that's just one of those things. There's people in worse off positions. Some of the guys on PS4 have still not got all the DLC downloaded. But according to the roadmap stream last night, that fix is, they've worked out what that is, and that fix is imminent. So hopefully those guys will get sorted out quick. Rank 7. So you're only one off the rank you were before then, Sharky, are you? Just pulling your leg. It does need the kinks fixing. And I don't know about on your PS5, but that's got the tiles where you can choose the routes. As you move left and right through those tiles, my PS5, it's not the SSD because the SSD's got no moving parts, but something's vibrating. It must be the fan. And I noticed last night someone asked that on the roadmap stream, and Matt commented that the menu has got full use of the whole PS5. It hasn't been tuned in any way. So one of the things they've got already in testing is some fine tuning to the menu. So he understood why it was doing it. So that's good, because I was a bit worried at first. Mine was making it wasn't a massive noise, but you get used to it being so quiet that any noise is a bit worrying. And I thought, something was zapping away at it, but it's the fix is in the works. So we'll just have to watch out for that. And I don't know why they would put that in and not tune it to begin with. I don't know. Seems a bit odd. This head out view's nice though. All I have to learn at the moment, Sharky, is your skill in staying on time and reading the chat and not speeding. I've got my iPad set up right next to me so I can see the chat. And I take my eye off the driving. That will come. See if we can make up some time though. Keep talking crap, yeah. I talk plenty of that, mate. Don't worry about that. I should get by just fine then. Maxwell Park is next. I also changed that motion blur setting for the first time. Actually, it's not done it on here. It's still blurring, but that's another thing it's not doing. It's oh god, the emergency brake. It's not remembering settings. You have to set the settings per route, which is a bit annoying because I always take off the stop marker with with the coloured lights on the track. I always take that off, but so far I've had to take that off individually for every route that I've got. That's a bit annoying. But let me have a look at this motion blur and just I think it's in this list. Let's just see what happens with this. It's nice to see a few passengers getting on and off though. That makes a big difference to me, that. Yep, no worries, Sharky. Shawlands is the next stop. Here we are at Pollock Shores East. This is Langside. A lot of passengers tend to get on at the back, I've noticed. Whether that's just where they've been set to spawn in, not sure. As long as there's passengers, I don't care. It makes such a big difference. Okay, we get the doors locked and on to the next one. Cathcart in just over half a mile. And now with the PS5 version you can see so much further out. It's really nice. A little bit too fast. Not to worry. So we're still just over, well, about a minute and a half late. Try and catch some of that up. Is there such a thing as a quiet night on flights from Sharky, where you're concerned? I know you get quite excited about it, rightly so. I'm a bit jealous, to be honest. I must admit, it's the only thing I would have an Xbox for. And then I probably wouldn't be off it. I probably wouldn't be on this if I played that, to be fair. Sawdust, yeah. This is Mount Florida. What a great name for a station. Hey Dave, welcome. Hey, better late than never, don't worry. I haven't done Koln yet. I thought I would tick what... Oh, they're all getting a traffic jam here. I thought I would tick one of these off in the journey mode so I can get nearer to the trophy for... I think you've got to complete one journey and you've got to complete 10 journey chapters. I've not done any yet, but I'm quite close with this one, so I'll go after that platinum again for a third time. At least with this one we don't have to do all the rapid transit services. That was the most difficult thing I ever did. Well, not difficult, just mind-numbing, I would say. It wasn't the most exciting trophy I've ever gone for. Put it that way. Have you been stuffing your face, Dave, again? Is that where you've been? You have your tea at 6 o'clock, don't you? Upskirting trophy. Yeah, especially as we're getting more passengers now. So, Dave, you've unlocked some of these mastery rewards, like I have. Have you noticed? Have you noticed any of them carrying over from the PS4 version? I know the progress has carried over for mastery, but the ones that you'd already unlocked, do you actually see them in the routes? I don't think I've got the UFO on this route, but I haven't been down that way yet. I need to check that. And I'm on the actual circle here, so I'm not going down to Whiteside. I think it's Whiteside where the UFO is. And I've not been down there yet. Right, yeah. I suspect as much. So the progress has carried over, but the rewards haven't. I don't know how they're going to fix that. And how they can give you a scenery tile. I'm assuming the tiles are already in the game, just hidden. And by completing those criteria, they just unlock so that they're visible. So I'm not sure how they would make individual ones visible after the event. That's probably one of the last things on the list, though. To be fair. Slight overshoot. Not to worry. Nobody gets out of this door anyway. They're all down the back. They tend to be down the back.
Please keep personal belongings with you at all times. Any unattended baggage will be removed and may be destroyed by security services.
Those announcements are pretty good, I have to admit. So an LGV then, have you been putting the safety systems on, Dave, or not? Is that one of the ones you're struggling with? This is Pollock Shields East. I think that's the problem, Dave. Some of these safety systems on some of these routes are quite complicated. I don't think the LGV one is particularly, but I can understand how it's confusing. Certainly, things like PZB and LZB are confusing, and as we said before, when there is a manual, the manual doesn't really give you the eyes-on demo, does it? Reading it from a book is quite dry. So I've picked all these up just by watching the DTG streams. Well, in particular Matt, because Matt is the professor of safety systems. He wrote the damn things, didn't he? But if those streams weren't available, I don't know what I'd do really. and I've had to watch them quite a bit to pick them up. You can't just watch one or two because it takes a while to learn it. Yeah, they asked in the survey, didn't they, recently about people's thoughts as to whether things should be in-game tutorials, printed manuals, YouTube videos, whatever it might be. I can't remember what I put actually. I think some sort of in-game tutorials, better tutorials where it's all centralised. It's no good having to go off to YouTube every 2 minutes. You want it in-game, really. It's good PZB, Shark. If you can pick it up, I might have mentioned this to you before on one of your streams, but I didn't use PZB for, I don't know, 12 months maybe with the first game, and as I was driving along, I kept seeing all the lights and the signals, and I thought, if I'm going to do it properly, I really should learn what all this means because I've no idea. And that's when I started studying other people. And you do get emergency braked a few times to begin with, but after a while you pick it up. It just takes time. But it gives you something to focus on, and I'll tell you something else. The German routes then, it gives you so much playability on the German routes. Because before PZB, it feels like you're just going A to B again, and not much is happening along the way. But with PZB, it's pretty good, pretty entertaining. So we'll have a little bit of PZB on the next one because I'll do a high speed run on Koln next, and we'll put the LZB on. Let's hope I'm not too rusty on that. It's been a few weeks. This is a nice run into Glasgow, this, isn't it? Let's check these camera views again. I've missed that camera. I do like that one. The flyby camera. Just the additional distance view that we get now on next gen is great. This does actually look like you're coming into a city now. I must watch that speed though when I'm looking at the chat. I'll be struck off. Mind the platform edge, everybody. I think it was East Courseway. Actually, the other day I was playing East Courseway, and I did actually clip someone. There was somebody right on the end, and when I played it back, his arm just went through the cab. Sharp intake of breath if that was real, no doubt. So here we are, that's the round trip, Glasgow to Glasgow. Wouldn't it be great though if we could get the main line trains just as AI coming into Glasgow as well? It's true that, Shark, it's true that, because Dave, I think you showed me a picture, didn't you? You had somebody on the track. And I think that was on the Bakerloo as well. Stood in front of the cab. So there are still some tweaks to make to these passengers, I think. But I love the improvements. They're still getting stuck on this fence again. I'm assuming that these guys here, this happens every time, I'm assuming they're meant to go down the steps. But it's as if the staircase should be at the other end. So that's Glasgow. Let's move over now to do one of the Koln runs. I do quite like the speed. Let's have a look. Oh, it was Southeastern High Speed, Dave. Sorry, I thought it was. I thought that was on the Underground. So this is another short chapter. So this is a good one to go towards the trophy. So I'll just run this Brussels ICE service or ICE. We're not allowed to call it ICE, are we? So Dave, have you not visited Shark's channel? You should go on Shark's channel. Shark plays train sim, but also quite a lot of other stuff at the same time. Are you able to post your link, Shark? Should do. I've not got any restrictions on. You can give it a try if you like. Right, let's sort everything out. So let's put the passenger lights on first. Come out of that. Let's have AFB. Tell you what, helps if I put that on first.
Türen geöffnet. Störung. Zugbeeinflussung. WB gesperrt. WB gesperrt. Störung.
Right. Ah, there we go. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the lady to announce the RFB, AFB, RFB. Whoever got that from? So that's that. Let's go down to the cabinet and put everything on. So we want L's a B, B's a B, C for shut the drinks cabinet. Now we're going to Brussels, aren't we? I find it hard to see that screen. There's some glare on that screen. What is it number? Is it number 4 where we do that? I can't remember now. No, you know what? I'm not going to mess it up. Oh, there we are. That's where it is. Couldn't tell you how I got to that, but I did. Brussels we're going to, aren't we? Cool. That's that done. Let's get my AFB screen back on again. We'll set this to 40 for the departure. There's some lag in this station, I'll tell you. I don't know if you can see that. Just due to the detail, I expect. It's very juddery. Right. Let's give it some juice. So I've set it to 40 because the monitoring is on. We got the flashing 70, 85. So we want to stay under 45 kilometers an hour. So I've set it to 40 just to be safe. Don't know what it is, they feel really solid to drive, these trains.
Zug Beeinflussung.
So we've got a 70 coming up, but we can't move to that until we're out of the monitoring. What's that, Dave? You want me to give somebody the horn? Okay, we're out of monitoring, so I can up the speed. We've got a 60 coming up, so I'll just increase to 60 just for now. Yeah, it is a good route. So we got an 80, 50 meters. And for this run, let's just move this to 80. I know we can use the AFB on the controller, but for this run, till I get used to it, and I've practiced it a little bit, I'll use the traditional method, I think, for a while. Put some more juice on it. Yeah, the layers are added, Dave. Yeah, they are. So you can use quite a few of your trains now on there. Right, so we can shortly take it up to 140. Have I been on HMA? Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've run a couple on there. Not with the ICE. I've run. Let me just turn this up. Got a 160 coming. I think I did a couple of freight. Did I do a couple of freight ones? This was last week when we first got the route. I had a look what available locos there were on there and ran a couple. I can't remember now, but yeah, they're all there. So we're still under PZB at the minute, and we can go to right. So okay, we're already at 160. Actually, no, we're actually in LZB already. So you can see in the centre there of the console, there's nothing coming up for the next 9.9 kilometres. So let's increase to 250. So now we should be able to just cruise along, just with CIFA telling us what to do. And if anything's coming up in front of us, as I say, that centre column, that will start to reduce, and you can see the next event that we're going to get, if you look on this dial on the right, the next event we're going to get is a speed of 160. But this is the distance counter in the middle, and it's saying the 160 is further than 9.9 kilometers. So we know there's nothing in the next 9.9 kilometers. Should something occur before that, you'll see that starting to drop in the middle. Yeah, the coming off LZB is a bit confusing. You have to try to remember, and I've got to try and remember as well when I get to it. You've got to try to move from right to left to do that. But it is confusing. And I've not done this for a few weeks now, so we will get there. .5 kilometers. And the thing as well is, Dave, if you do get brakes each time you do it, just keep doing it. You know, you'll pick it up after that. You will get a few breaks before you properly pick it up. Because don't forget, getting an emergency brake is part of driving. It's what it's there for. It's to keep you safe. So. The thing to watch out for is what I did on stream last week, where I went through the red because I wasn't paying attention on a Rosa. That was unforgivable. But this is different. This is an intended safety system. I remember when we got this route originally, there was some towards the end of the route there was some static ICE trains, weren't there, in the siding, and they took them out because of performance reasons. I don't know whether or not they're back in on this version. That'd be interesting to see. It's not been mentioned, so I don't know. Yeah, it is shocking. I like all these high speed ones. It's like the LGV one. There's not, there's not a lot of stations on there. You're not a lot of stops, but once you get up to that speed, it's pretty good. There's a lot to do still, just managing it. I think I actually prefer these high speed routes over the other stuff in the game, if I'm honest. Right, so you can see down in this dial now, the next event we're going to get now is actually 200. So the next speed restriction we're going to get is 200. And again, it's not within 9.9 kilometers, so we're okay at the moment. That was 160, if you remember. So something must have been going on ahead. You can see the countdown now, actually. 9.1, 9, 8.9. So we're going to get a 200 coming up within that distance. But because we're under LZB, it will take us down to the 200 without us doing anything. It must be scary following this as a real driver, trusting the electronics. But then again, you know, you're hurtling along at this speed. You need some kind of monitoring in place to make sure you don't shunt into the back of somebody. I don't know how long it would take you to get used to going at this speed, to be honest. 5 kilometers. So the green G that's come on in the hood, that's the brakes coming on. It's starting to do its thing now. And we're less than 2 kilometers there, you can see. And you can see it in the top right of the hood anyway. But if you're following the instruments, you see it's quite rapidly going down now in the middle. So we're at the 200, and again we've got a 160 coming up. 3 kilometers. What happens with that then, Dave, if there's two in the same section? Have you literally got to manage your own safety and just slow down and wait for the first one to clear off? Or is it a bit more technical than that? So this is the 160. It's going to take some of that power off. Right, so we've got the flashing end. So what we need to do is press the PZB release button, and it makes the end go solid. But we're still under we're still under LZB until the end disappears, and then we got to start the moving the different controls. So I'm going to take some of that power off so that we're ready. Right, so we're back to PZB. So let's take the power off. Let's take the AFB off. In fact, put that forward. Take that off, back, all the way up, and then put it back to where you want to be. So let's put it to 160. And then what we want to do is put AFB back on again. apply some power. And we're back in business. And if we just adjust that to where we want to be. There, so we're now back under PZB. AFB's been off and back on again, reset. So now we just need to watch the signals all the way in. And I think under PZB 160 is the highest speed you can do. Still got 22 kilometers, so there's quite a stretch of this that hasn't got LZB. I know if you come in the other way, it seems like forever until you get to the LZB section. But we're still in good time, still got 13 minutes. It's just the in-cab sound as well. The in-cab sound sounds solid. I don't know if it's realistic because I've never travelled on one of these, but it sounds good. West Coast Main Line next, please, DTG. Or any of DTG's third parties that are working with them. So it sounds, Dave, like fun and games on Boston then. Are you still bored of it, or have you been back to it? I know you said a few days back you said you were getting a little bit bored of it. It was just A to B. Has it picked up any? Train spotter, good evening mate, how you doing? Nice to see you. Got a 120 coming up. Bring that down now, give it plenty of time. Have you got all your DLCs now, Train Spotter? Oh, you didn't update? Oh, I didn't realise.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, let's hope this fix they've got is the actual fix for everybody then. I saw today, well, I saw last night on the stream, but also today they were saying that it should be live anytime. But let's hope everything gets fixed and everybody's okay. And the other thing is that they were saying, like you mentioned before, Dave, that if the PS4 thing is still going on, they may even cancel the Riesa Dresden stream tomorrow night, because it doesn't seem appropriate to advertise a new route when there's been a bit of a cock-up on everything else. So we'll have to see what happens with that. I think this is where the static ICE trains were originally, before they took them out. But it looks as if they've not put them back in. Oh, they've cancelled it already. Okay then. Yeah. I thought they may leave it till tomorrow, once they could see a few people were getting this fixed and it was actually working for them, but obviously not. Well, it's a bit disappointing, but I mean, it's understandable, isn't it? People don't want to look at, they're not in the right frame of mind to look at something new when the stuff they've got isn't up to scratch and isn't working properly. So they can save it to next week. Yeah, on that, Dave, yeah, somebody mentioned it. I said at the beginning, just before you arrived, I think, somebody mentioned that to Matt last night in the stream, and he acknowledged that it's an issue, and it's to do with the menu system, where you pick the route tiles, having full access to all the resources on the PS5. It's not tuned in any way. And so it's... I think the buzzing is the fan, actually, because it's running at full whack. So he said he's got a fix in the works already, which just tunes the menu a little bit better, just to use less resources. So it was something they knew about, which is good, because I was getting a bit worried, because the PS5 doesn't make any noise, really, for anything. But it was doing for that. 6.6 kilometers. Plenty of time, still got 5 minutes to get in. Yeah, my PS5 is flat. It's under the TV on one of the shelves. Could be that. Could be something to do with that. It's very good, Transporter, actually. The only thing is there's a little bit of stuttering, which I used to get on the PS4, but actually I've been getting it a little bit more with the PS5 version. I'm assuming there's going to be some fine tuning done over the coming months, but it's much better. The distances now, you can see things pop in less. In fact, it's not very noticeable anymore. Just that alone, is good. The textures are obviously upgraded. So much more detail. It's brilliant. So we got 100 coming up. I think we got a 90 shortly after, if I remember. Nope. We've got a 40. So we got the 1000 hertz magnet, so we need to be down under 85 within 23 seconds, so that's fine. So we've got a 70, then a 40. Yep, you're right, Dave, yep. So we just need to acknowledge this 40. Take it right down. Just a bit too slow, isn't it? Let's go 30. Bit of freight in the station. Double header. And here we are at Aachen. Nice run. It's always a nice run, that. And this will carry on to Brussels. Yeah, the freight's brilliant. Good thing is, you can run a few passenger service, and if you get a little bored of it, you can just do something completely different and jump on the freight. And not only that, you can run the freight with several different locos as well if you've got the other DLCs. You don't just have to do the freight with one loco. So there's plenty of variety. Even the weathering on the front's good, look at that. Very nice. So that's Koln. And what I'll do, I will just go over to Munich, Augsburg, and just have a look at those layers. Where are we? So if I go into Explorer, timetable, yeah, so now you've got all these you see at the bottom. So even the 155 is on there as well, which is good. Tell you what, why don't we run a freight one? Let's do a freight run. Being as we were talking about that, let's try this. Yeah, Leeds Blackpool. That'd be a good run, wouldn't it, that? Right. Master switch into forward. Headlights. Not them as bright. Don't want the desk light on. It's too distracting. Got AFB down here, haven't we? But we can't.
AFB, AFB, AFB.
So let's have PZB on again. CIFA. Change the lights to headlights. Somewhere. It's on the left hand side, I think. Oh. Let's have some fresh air in. A quick look round before we go. This is a nice loco, this. Was this from Ryan Ruhr Austin? I think it was. I think this is the first time we saw this. So I'll set the AFB again to 40. Oh, sorry, Dave. I didn't read that. You said do the 155. I didn't catch that. This sounds different to me. I don't know if any work has been done, but it does sound a little bit different on the inside.
Zugbeeinflussung.
See, on this route, on the PS4, if you were going under this bridge now, you'd see those distant buildings popping in. And now the popping's very, very minimal. So it gives all your routes a new lease of life, really.
SIFA. Zugbeeinflussung.
I haven't seen that about the leaves. So in winter now, there's no leaves on the trees. Is that what you're saying, Train Spotter? They all used to just glow white, didn't they, before?
SIFA. Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, the other thing, Shark, is that you remember if you're in the outside view, sort of about there, you'd always have the shadow in front of the loco, and a giant sort of patch of shadow would be in front of you, following you all the way, which used to be really off-putting. That's gone. The shadow is the shadow now. Looks pretty good. That's interesting. That I don't think I've done a winter one either yet. I'll have to check that out at some point. Now the other thing about these freight runs is I'm never quite sure, because of the tonnage, what's a safe speed to go at? Because I know right now we can do 150 if we wanted to, but it doesn't seem sensible to me. Is there on these German trains, is there a sort of acceptable speed that you're meant to go at when you're just cruising? Because if we get a magnet now, we've got to suddenly get down to 70. And with this weight, it's a bit more difficult to do that. 100, yeah, 100. That's what I usually stick to, yeah. Flying over Norway, Sharky. Is there anywhere you haven't been yet? Have you made a list of? Are you kind of doing a round the world sightseeing tour in Flight Sim? Oh, it's 110. Okay, well, let's do 110 then.
Zugbeeinflussung.
See, this is a good example of the distance now that you can see. You can't see the catenary popping in, which is the other thing. Well, Sharky, I know you've flown over Preston now because I witnessed that, so that was the main place. I was surprised actually when you flew over Preston, the amount of places that I could see that I recognised. And I know it takes its data directly from maps, doesn't it? Is it Bing? Is it Bing where it gets the maps? So it should be pretty accurate. But yeah, it's come a long way since the last one.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, it was all on the North End, Moorpark, Royal Preston. It was surprising.
Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, because the buildings were there, weren't they, short, as I remember, but just not the mast. Be a nice update. That's what I like about these long runs here. You can just get settled down, have a nice long run. Don't have to worry about stopping at stations, and
Zugbeeinflussung.
if you just want to experience the route. I'll have to look for that, Dave. I didn't see that. How far away is it from the track? And is it right next to the station, or is it either side somewhere?
Zugbeeinflussung.
I know when you're on East Coastway, you actually come right past Brighton's ground, don't you? It's right next to the one of the stations. Can't remember which station it is. It's not Brighton Station. It's one of the smaller ones, but I know the stadium's right there.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I never thought about that, Sharky. That's actually a nice crossover sort of subject, that, isn't it? Flying the TSW routes in Flight Simulator. Be quite interesting, that. Blue building behind the blue shed.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Right. I'll have a look for that next time I'm on there. Is it still the Priestfield Stadium at Gillingham? It's been a while since I've been there. I've been to watch North End there.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I tell you what, Gillingham's a fair old trek from Preston. When you're going down there to watch football just for an hour and a half.
Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, see, I said before, a lot of these routes I've not had personal experience of,
Zugbeeinflussung.
but the northwest, dare I say it, being a hotbed for train-related stuff. Having Liverpool, Manchester, Preston, Blackpool, all that, you know, that hub, and being on the West Coast Main Line, I'm hoping they do something else up this neck of the woods. I was watching a stream of the TS Classic. They were going through the Manchester stations, and that looked pretty accurate, even with those graphics. Just, you know, Piccadilly, Oxford Road, Deansgate, they were coming through there, and that looked pretty good. So I'd like to see that kind of thing in this quality.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, that CIS building used to just dominate the skyline, didn't it? There wasn't much else around. A few things gone up since then. But for the time period of the Victoria that's in the game, you're right, CIS building should really be in. And Strangeways Prison is not that far from Victoria Station, and that's got a distinctive tower on there, hasn't it, as well? I mean, that could have been in. What, you used to go dancing at Strangeways? What kind of night out was that, Dave? I bet that was a bit of a knees up, wasn't it? A night out in Strangeways for right. I'll have to take your word for that. That chimney though, do you know that chimney shark? I like to think that's the old Boddy's Brewery chimney. Because Boddington's was right next to Victoria as well, wasn't it? I once went with work on a tour of Boddy's. You know, you get to go around, see them making it, and you get to sample a little bit. I'll say a little bit, just because we're PG, but you get to sample a couple of small scoops at the end of it. And that's right next to Victoria Station. That had a big chimney as well.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I bet this run here looks good with a bit of snow on it.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I'll have to remember that.
SIFA. Zugbeeinflussung.
I'll be honest with you, Dave. Like we said before, I think those changes they've made this time around to West Somerset are really good.
Zugbeeinflussung.
It's definitely breathed some new life into that route. It actually looks for once like people are actually turning up and riding the trains for enjoyment. Plenty of people on the platform at either end, which is what you would expect on one of those touristy type routes, wouldn't you? And just the addition of the additional static locos and trucks and things makes a big difference.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I did a small, you probably saw it on the channel, I did a small run with a Class 40 where you bring it from the sheds at Williton and you bring it down to Minehead ready to be brought into service, and that's actually been a really popular video. So it just shows people are interested to see different locals running at West Somerset, because I haven't been there. I know you've been there, Dave. I think Trainspotter, I think you might have been to West Somerset, unless I've got that wrong. But
Zugbeeinflussung.
you would expect to see guest locals and things down there, wouldn't you?
Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
– 25 kilometres to go.
Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
I know the Deltic, Dave. I've seen a lot of talk on the forums, people requesting a Deltic. What route would they put that on though? Would that need its own route?
Zugbeeinflussung.
You're more knowledgeable than I am. Could they run that on, would that be Northern Transpennine, for example? It'd have to be one of the old routes, wouldn't it? I would have said Diesel Legends, but then they've said they don't DLC a DLC.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Although I think they would if they make money out of it. I'm sure they would.
Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
I'm quite interested in this Penzance route that's coming out. Again, it's not somewhere I've been, but I like the sound of it, and it's coming with a 150. I don't know if that's all it's coming with. They've been a bit cagey about it so far. But it is being made by Rivet as well, which is the only other thing to look out for.
Zugbeeinflussung.
But even that, I don't think that's a very long route, is it? From memory. There's a couple of branch lines going off. But as I say, I don't know that area at all, really.
Zugbeeinflussung.
No, you know my view, Dave. Isle of Man, I liked. I was a bit sore about the trophy situation, but it only affects PlayStation players. The route itself was quite nice, and it's nice just to hop on for a quick sort of 20 minutes to half hour. Arosa, you know, I'm not. It's not something I would play every day. I'll maybe play it once a week, once every 2 weeks.
Zugbeeinflussung.
But this one I'm looking forward to. I just hope, you know, the more routes they make, the more they learn, the more they put into the latest one. So we've got 100 coming up,
Zugbeeinflussung.
which I'll start to bring down now. See, I've wondered about this.
Zwangsbremsung.
Oh God, I wasn't even looking.
Zwangsbremsung.
That's me reading the chat.
Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung.
Well, that's going to slow me down, that's for sure.
Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung.
I was just about to say,
Zwangsbremsung.
there's a lot of,
Zwangsbremsung.
yeah, okay, be quiet.
Zwangsbremsung. Zugbeeinflussung.
There's a lot of call for the trams on the forums, but would that go in a train game? That's the only thing I'm not sure of. Don't know. Yeah, alright, you lot, have a good laugh. I'm gonna watch that back after and see what I missed. There must have been a speedboard that I missed. I'm assuming. Tell you what. Take that off. Put that back on. Power up. As the ultimate embarrassment, the passenger train now takes over us. Is the Arosa route? Yeah, is the Arosa route classed as a train or a tram? I wondered that when it came out. Quite near the end.
Zugbeeinflussung.
16 kilometers. Right, it's taking me a while to get going, but we are going. Oh, now they're really taking the mick. Everybody's going past. Yeah, I don't know, Short. It looks like a tram to me. And I think it gives that impression, doesn't it? Because part of it runs down the street. Which for us means tram, but...
Zugbeeinflussung.
Right, let's see if I can do this last 15 without any issues.
Zugbeeinflussung.
So once I get past this signal, I should be out of monitoring and we can speed up.
Zugbeeinflussung.
In fact, we're good to go right now, so...
SIFA. Zugbeeinflussung.
Another ICE coming the other way. He's motoring. Some wheel spin there. CIFA is every 30 seconds, the CIFA, something like that.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I must admit, on the US freight train, so Sandpatch for example, I don't turn the alerter on there at all, because I do find, I know you're meant to if you're doing it properly, but I do find that a bit distracting. But CIFA I generally turn on, well, and PZB as I said.
Zugbeeinflussung.
It's all part of the fun. Kenke, I don't know if you're in the stream just now, but thanks for the sub. Much appreciated.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Quite enjoyed this one, to be honest. I bet I've not run the freight on this one that often. I don't think I've had this route. I didn't get this route at the beginning because the layers issue.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I didn't fancy it at first, but now it's certainly on the PS5. It's where it should be. And the freight's quite enjoyable.
Zugbeeinflussung.
I think we'll run Sandpatch or Cane Creek on the next one. I've not been on either of those two yet since we've been on this PS5 version, so I'll be interested to see what those two look like. I'll get the tutorials out of the way first before I stream it, just so everything's in order.
Zugbeeinflussung.
It's a nice looking loco, this one. Quite like the plain black livery, to be honest. Makes a change from all the red, doesn't it, on the German routes? Yeah, that Sandpatch is good, Dave, if you've got a couple of hours you just want to settle in. I know Sharky's a fan of Sandpatch. You've streamed that quite a bit, Sharky, I know, on your channel.
Zugbeeinflussung.
6.3 to go. Yeah. You gotta watch it doesn't disappear.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, the draw distance is great. What a massive difference. Okay, we've got a 40 coming up.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Now we've got to get down to 70 pretty quick. Okay, there's a little bit too much brake. That might take us a while to get going. Let's try again. What was I going to say about Sandpatch? I had something in my mind about Sandpatch. Oh yeah. Which ones of those scenarios we all had trouble with at the beginning? Was it Power in America, where you have to set everything up in the two back cabs before you start up the hill? Got to set up the banking comms, etc. I haven't actually run those scenarios since we first got Sandpatch, so that'll be interesting to do again. Quite look forward to doing that, because as I recall it, there's only those scenarios where you do that, and then in all the services there's no requirement to do that. Power in America Part 1, yeah, I thought it was. I think a few of us had fun and games with that when we first ran it. I certainly started going off up the hill thinking I'd brought the back engines into play, and I knew straight away when it was struggling there was something I'd not switched on at the back. And I tell you what, that's some walk, isn't it, from end to end. It's got to be a mile or something nearly. So here's the warning for the 40. It was just a bit too heavy on the brakes. I know this is really sad, but I have got a little book with the bits and pieces that you do on these routes that you don't do over and over again. I've kind of written it all down. So that banking com stuff, I wrote it all down. I think there was another one, wasn't there? There's one on MSB. There's the fueling scenario, fully fueled or something like that, and that had a similar thing where you to set up the banking loco at the back in that, and there was similar with that. So I wrote all this down. So I've got a book now with all these different things in. It should be in the game really, but it's not. And this time around I've not started any of those scenarios on the main Spessart board as yet. I need to get round to those at some point. That's another good route, by the way, main Spessart board. Just over 3 kilometres.
Zugbeeinflussung.
See this built up area is where you'll see just how the PS5 will cope, because there's a lot of detail going on just in this area. Thanks for jumping on, Train Spotter. Good to see you as always. Thanks, mate.
SIFA, Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, I've no keyboard, Dave, so I can't flick it on. I mean, it looks pretty good.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Okay, 1.8. We've got a red signal coming up, and we've got a 1000 hertz magnet, but we're only doing 40. So it's not a problem.
SIFA, Zugbeeinflussung.
Well, technically now, Dave, you can do your AFB and the horn from the controller using those shift controls. There's only the frame rate that you'll need to still use your keyboard for. Right, I'm going to start bringing down the speed now. Just over 800 meters.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Took me a few days with the new controls, Dave, but slowly they're sinking in. Just bit by bit I keep just experimenting. The AFB stuff I've not quite got my head round yet.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Like I said, doing the ICE runs, there's that much to do at the start and at the end of the LZB that I'm using it the old way just for now until I've had a bit of a practice. But just holding the right stick in and then D-pad right is just nice to see all these views again.
SIFA, Zugbeeinflussung.
Or D-pad left. Different internal views. This is another one of those red lights where the stop marker is right before the red light.
Zugbeeinflussung.
And I won't lie, that's caught me out a few times in the past. I think we'll just roll it in from here.
Zugbeeinflussung.
A little bit too overcautious. It's best to be cautious though, isn't it, than run through that and spad when you're when you've done a long run. Hopefully that should do it. Oh, there we go. Oh, and a trophy as well. MAG off to a great start. I'm assuming that's run 1 service. Can't remember. Very nice run. 57, just over 57.5 kilometres in 50 minutes, including 1 emergency stop, which we recovered from. Okay, so that's the main thing. We got going again, no problem. Alright guys, I'm going to call it a night there. Thanks as always for joining me. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for the chat. Really enjoyed it. And I'll probably be back next Wednesday, similar time, around 6 o'clock UK time, if you want to join me then. So yeah, thanks very much. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers guys.